Hello friends, it's Terry with Terry's Mailbox Posting for the Funkie Junkie Boutique. So today I'm going to use Brayer backgrounds to create these cards. I've been playing with Brayer backgrounds. So again, if you look at my channel, you'll see other cards that I've done with Brayer backgrounds. So I'm doing Halloween cards today. So I left this section in to kind of show you the difference between using Distress inks to do the Brayer technique and using Distress Oxide. Huge difference, huge difference. I just thought I'd use my Distress inks and all would go well. You can see here that I ended up spritzing a little water, trying to see if I could get better coverage, and it just wasn't working for me. So I ended up switching over to Distress Oxides. So here you can see I've got my Distress Oxides out. I'm using pumice stone, stormy sky, lost shadow, and weathered wood. So again, you can see how creamy the oxides are. So again, I will use oxides for any of my future brayering techniques. So again, just kind of randomly rolling the ink on in different segments of that 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock. And the cool thing is that in the end, I can cut it into 4, and I have 4 A2 backgrounds, and you can see that I turned them all into Halloween cards. So again, I thought the blue was just a great background to the blues and the grays to make a Halloween card. So again, just kind of adding the extra color. This is weathered wood, which again is a little dark, but that's fine. It kind of all melds into the background. And once I add all the ideology on top, you really don't see the background all that much. You just kind of can see snippets of it. So again, we're just sitting here finishing up. We'll end up kind of filling in the blanks. And again, you'll see I'm rolling in different directions, kind of trying to get some unique texture on here. And so we'll get, there we go. There's my background. So I'm happy with that. So I'm going to put my inks away, and then I'm going to pull out some of my stamps, because again, I'm going to stamp over this background as a whole and then cut it later. So the first stamp I pulled out is Shattered, which is one of the newer ones. And I'm going to go ahead and pull it off of that plastic plate that it comes with. So again, I want to kind of be loose and not stamp necessarily the whole thing, and have some parts maybe a little darker than others. So again, I'm just kind of stamping away here, and I will get the background completely covered with that Shattered before moving on to the next one, which is the Obscure stamp set. That's number 471, and I pulled the web off of that one. You can see I was kind of looking at the flowers there, but then I decided to go ahead and pull that web, circular web type thing. So again, I'm going to stamp that right in the middle, because remember, I'm going to cut this into 4 pieces. So I started in the middle, and I went ahead and used archival black soot ink. So again, I'm going to stamp in the middle, and then move out towards the periphery and add some more stamps. So again, you're just really kind of playing and just adding interest to the back of the panel or the back of the card. So the next thing I did was I ended up stamping the tree. That came from Mr. Bones. That's number 345. Next thing I did was I pulled out some of the Crypt grit paste. This is the Gothic stencil. It's number 26, so it is an oldie but goodie. So again, I'm using the Crypt grit paste, and I'm getting that design on there. And again, I'm not covering the entire thing. I'm just kind of adding interest to that. And I decided to use this floral stencil, and I'm going to use translucent grit paste because again, it just kind of adds a different look, different texture. So again, I'm kind of selecting where I am adding the translucent grit paste, and decided to, I need to add that Gothic one back in. And again, I keep a lasagna pan by my side when I'm doing stencils like Tim does, so I can throw my stencils in and clean them off pretty quickly. So the next thing I decided to do was to pull out some of the Distress sprays. So this is the weathered wood, or no, excuse me, it's faded jean and hickory smoke. And so I'm just kind of splattering, and I tend to pull the sprayer out of the bottle and use the straw at the bottom to add my splatters. And so then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm adding, here I am with that floral stencil again, and we're just going to go ahead and ink blend with Distress ink. So again, this is the faded jeans, just kind of adding more interest. So again, as you can see, my background is pretty well covered. And again, I did have to wait until the pastes and things were dry before I moved on to adding the additional stenciled flowers. So again, I thought it turned out really nice. So I pulled out my guillotine cutter, and I'm going to go ahead and trim it into 5.5 by 4 1/4. And that's just the standard A2 size card. And so then you'll see the next thing I do is I'm going to pull out a bunch of different ideology ephemera. Some of it is from my stash. Some of it is, from the new sets. Again, I tend to collect things. So I decided the tree needed some bats. So again, that came from the obscure number 471 website. So again, I'm using the archival ink, and again, that's in case I'm stamping over any of the texture paste, because it's not gonna ink over that. It'll just kind of blob up as it does, since Distress ink is water resistant. So again, using the archival inks and adding the bats. This is just too much fun. I can't wait to add my ephemera. We'll have to see. So there I've got a couple of spooky kids trying to decide, and I laid all my ephemera out here. So one of the first things I decided to do was add googly eyes to my Funkie skeleton, and then I put it up on one of those wobblers, and so that it would kind of wobble, and I'm putting him on top of that couple with the bat wings, so you can kind of see that they've got the bat wings on there. And then I'm just kind of going to select a background here to put it on. And so let's do it on this one. Again, it's got that circular web on it. And then I'm going to go ahead and stamp the Casket Company. And that came from number 435. So again, I tend to collect a lot of stamps and ephemera, and so, I've got lots of things to use. So again, thought that one looked pretty good. So again, I'm going to go ahead and add my couple and my skeleton onto the front of that. That'll be fun. So again, I'm just adding some glue here on the background. So we'll go ahead and glue that guy on there. Too much fun. Too much fun. So let's see, what do we have? Ooh, I've got the tree and the bats. Trying to decide if I want to add anything else. Kind of what I'm going to do. I ended up deciding to use that small skull, and that came from also number 435. And so that's just one of the Stampers Anonymous stamps that I have. And then I pulled out some of those sentiment strips from the occasions. Or no, that's the Halloween ticket book, excuse me. And so that Halloween one had a bunch of different sayings, and so I added those. So this is in the shadows, sometimes in the middle of the night, then suddenly a strange thing happened. So we'll go ahead and I put those on there, and then I'm going to go ahead and glue my little trick-or-treaters there. I did pull a hat from the Halloween sticker book and put it on the little girl on the left. So there's that front ready to go. Next, I've got my two girls that look like they are gypsies maybe. So I've got the fortune card there. And again, I'm kind of adding them to one of the other backgrounds. And I took the curious little card. I've got several of those too, and went ahead and colored that with black soot ink. And so I'm going to try to figure out where to add that. So I was playing with that hand, but decided not to put it on here. In the end, I ended up adding a black cat from my ephemera pack. So again, you collect this stuff long enough, you have quite an assortment of things to use. So again, there's my curious, still playing with that hand, trying to figure out if I want to use it. Playing with the moon. In the end, I decided to add the cat. So I'm moving on to the next one here. This is my lady with the umbrella, and I'm going to have her sit on that eyeball sign. And I wanted to go ahead and stamp the house to the side. So again, this is an older set here. But again, I thought the house would look really, really nice, and it decided that my smaller Misty wasn't big enough to handle it because I needed to have the house kind of hanging off the side. So we'll go ahead and get that organized in my larger Misty, and then we'll go ahead and again use archival black soot ink and stamping it on there. And you can see that this is the one that has the gray grit paste in the sky section. So on this one, I was kind of playing to see if I was going to add that October 31st stamp, but then decided against it. So I'm just going to have my lady with the umbrella sitting on the eyeball, and then we'll add a couple of things into the sky. So I'm playing with a little bat here. And then I'm kind of looking, can I put the poison on there? What should I do? And again, you can see I've got my ephemera all over my table here because I'm just kind of playing with it and trying to make decisions on where I want to put things. So I decided that that spooky moon looked pretty cool up there and would add interest to this particular card. So again, I added the eyeball on there, and then we'll go ahead and glue the lady with the umbrella onto the top. So trying to get her, sitting straight. Again, it was a little bit of a challenge because she is sitting, and so, trying to make sure I got her straight. So the next thing I'm doing is I am going to go ahead and pull a bigger bat out of the Halloween sticker book. And then I decided to go back to my Gypsy Girls and add the black cat. I thought that added some interest. Just kind of, again, just double checking, and digging through my ephemera. Is there anything else I want to put on there? Again, I don't make decisions until the end. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add glossy accents onto the eyeballs, onto the moon, and then that eyeball at the bottom. I think it makes it look cool when they are shiny and, kind of have a little bit of dimension to them. So obviously I had to then attach all of these to A2 card bases. So here is the cards in the end. So there's my trick-or-treaters with the bat tree. Here is my lady with the umbrella. Here is my Gypsy Girls. And here is that fun one with the skeleton. So again, it's Terry with Terry's Mailbox. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Blogger. Would love to have you come and follow me.